Alright, now we're going to go over section R.4. This is in the back of your book for further resources, and we're going to talk about factoring. Really important to make sure that we're all on the same page for factoring. So the first thing in factoring is we need to always factor out common factors. Some people know this as GCF, greatest common factor. Okay. And it can be numbers and variables. So for example, if I give you 8x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x. First, we're going to look at the numbers. So we're going to look at 8, 4, and 6. We're going to try and find a number that goes into all of them. So we look at the smallest number. 4 goes into 8, but 4 doesn't go into 6 evenly. So then we think about the next factor that goes into 4, 2. 2 goes into 8, 2 goes into 4, 2 goes into 6. So we're going to take a 2 out. Then we're going to look at our variables. We have 3 x's here, we have 2 x's here, we have 1 here. So we're going to factor out 1 of them. Parentheses. 8 divided by 2 is 4. If we have 3 and we're taking 1 out, we're left with 2. Minus 4 divided by 2 is 2. We have 2 x's, but we're taking 1 out. Plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. We have 1 x, we're taking it out, so we leave that go. Then you would check to see if this factors, but we'll get into that later. Next example. 6x to the 4th, y squared, minus 9x squared, y squared. First, we look at the numbers, 6 and 9. 6 does not go into 9 evenly. Next factor of 6, 3. 3 goes into both of those. Then we're going to look at our x's. I have 4 of them and I have 2 of them, so I can take 2 out. Then we're going to look at the y's. I have 2 and 2. I'm going to take out 2. Parentheses, 6 divided by 3 is 2. I have 4 x's, but I'm taking 2 out, so I'm left with 2. I had 2 y's, but I'm taking 2 y's out. They disappear. Minus 9 divided by 3 is 3. I have 2 x's. I'm taking 2 out. Disappears. I have 2 y's. I'm taking a y out. Close parentheses. Again, we would check and see if 2x squared minus 3 factors. Get to that later. I'm doing a lot of examples of these because this is the most important thing to never forget. It's always the first step to factoring. So 18m to the 4th n cubed minus 12m cubed n squared plus 6m squared n. First we look at 18, 12, 6. 6 goes into all of them, so I'm going to take a 6 out. I have 4, 3, 2 of them, so I'm going to take 2 out. I have 3 n's, 2 n's, 1 n, so I'm going to take 1 n out. Parentheses, 18 divided by 6 is 3. I have 4, but I'm removing 2, so I have 2 left. I have 3 n's, removing 1, I have 2 left. Minus 12 divided by 6 is 2. I have 3, I'm dividing 2 out, so I'm left with 1. I have 2 n's, taking 1 out, left with 1. 6 divided by 6 is 1. M squared divided by m squared is 1. N divided by n is 1. So we have 1. You can't eliminate it. You still have to have a 1 for that place, because then if we distribute this back, 6m squared n times 1 will give us that answer. So when everything cancels out, it becomes 1. If I have negative 10x to the 4th minus 5x cubed plus 10x squared. If you have a negative with your highest exponent, you want to factor the negative out. So I'm going to take the negative out automatically. Then I have 10, 5, and 10. 5 goes into all of that. I have 4 x's, 3 x's, 2 x's, so I'm going to take out 2. Parentheses. Negative 10 divided by negative 5, positive 2. Had 4 x's, divided 2 out, have 2 left. Negative 5 divided by negative 5, positive 1. Okay. I'm not going to write the 1 because x cubed, take out 2, I have x left. If you need to put the 1, that is okay. 10 divided by negative 5 is now negative 2. X squared divided by x squared, 1. So this is the final answer. Next, we're going to talk about factor by grouping. First step, you're going to use parentheses to group terms into binomials. And it's important that these binomials have common factors. You're going to write this expression with a addition sign. Between the binomials. After you group it, you're going to factor out the common factors. And this will be for each binomial. Then the third step, you're going to factor out the common binomial. And this is really important. If there isn't a common binomial, then you either have to go back and try regrouping or try a different way of factoring. So this, if it exists. If not, try one more time or try factoring another way. So first, use parentheses to group terms into binomials with common factors. Write a plus sign between the binomials. Then factor out the common factors in each binomial. And then after that, you're going to factor out the common binomial. For example, 15x cubed minus 6x squared plus 10x minus 4. So I'm going to group 15x cubed minus 6x squared. Keep my plus, 10x minus 4. So I use parentheses, that's the first step, to separate them into binomials. So that's the first step. Second step, factor out common factors. So 6 and 15, they share a 3. X squared and x cubed and x squared. So we're factoring out a GCF. 15 divided by 3 is 5. X cubed divided by x squared is leaving with x. Minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared divided by x squared disappears. Plus, now we're looking for the GCF of this binomial. 10 and 4. 4 does not go into 10, but 2 does. 10 divided by 2 is 5. There's only an x in this term, so we have to leave it. Minus 2. So I factored out common factors for each part. Then we're looking for a common binomial. See how this 5x minus 2 is the same as 5x minus 2. That means we factored correctly. So we're going to take that 5x minus 2 and we're going to write it first. And then we're going to put parentheses whatever's left. So we're left with 3x squared and a plus 2. Okay. So 3x squared and the plus 2 became the second part. And that right there is our answer. Another example. by minus bx plus 3y minus 3x. Parentheses. We have a plus sign, parentheses. Factor out a GCF. A y, we don't have a y. X, we only have there, but we have b's, so I'm going to take a b out. So I'm left with y minus x plus y and x's, there's only one of each, but there's a 3. Y minus x. We have a y minus x in both of these. So I'm going to take the y minus x out. And then parentheses, I'm left with b plus 3. So it works for any type of factoring with letters and numbers. Factor by grouping. Factoring x squared plus bx plus c. So to factor this, we want integers m and n. So m times n will equal c. And m plus n will equal b. So then x squared plus bx plus c will equal x plus m times x plus c. So x squared plus 8x plus 15. We're first looking here. We got 1 times 15, 3 times 5. We want to see if we can add any of these to get 8. 3 plus 5 will give us 8. So x plus 3 times x plus 5. And then just check. Positive 3 times positive 5 is positive 15. 5 plus 3 is 8. X squared minus 5x minus 14. We got 1 and 14, 2 and 7, but we want a negative 5. Well, looking at these, if I make 7 negative, negative 7 plus 2 will give me negative 5. So x plus 2, x minus 7. For either of these, let's say for this one you gave me x minus 7 and x plus 2, that is correct as well. Okay. If you gave me x plus 7 and x minus 2, that's not correct because positive 7 and negative 2 will give me a positive 5, but we want a negative. So always double check real quick. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. Negative 7 plus 2, negative 5. If you're given something like this, 5x squared plus 55x plus 120. Okay. If you have a number in front of the x squared, see if you can factor that out first. So 5 parentheses x squared plus 11x plus 5 goes into 120, 20, mental math, 24 times, well, excuse me, okay, 24 times. Keep the 5 there. For 24, we have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, okay, and we want 11. So I notice right here that 3 plus 8 is 11, so x plus 3 and x plus 8. Just because you factored the 5 doesn't mean you can get rid of it, okay? You have to leave the 5 outside the parentheses. If I give you 3x cubed plus 12x squared minus 36x, again, you should always check and see. So 3, 12, and 36, I can bring a 3 out. But notice here, okay, in this example, I have x is here, but no x here. In this example, I have x's in all 3 of them. I have 3 of them, 2 of them, 1 of them, so I can take an x out. 3 divided by 3 is 1, x cubed divided by x is x squared, plus 12 divided by 3 is 4, x squared divided by x is x, minus 36 divided by 3 is 12, x divided by x cancels out. 12, we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Okay. It's negative, so one of these signs is going to be different, and we want a 4. So if I make this a negative 2, that'll give me positive 4. So we got 3x, x minus 2, x plus 6. Double check. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. 6 plus negative 2 is positive 4. So you always want to check and make sure that you can factor out any greatest common factors, numbers, and variables. Then we have factoring with FOIL. I call this the happy face method. Kind of cheesy. Okay. So for example, 10x squared plus 13x minus 3. First, we always want to check and make sure that we can factor. 3 is prime, 13 is prime, so we can't factor out anything. We don't have an x term here, so we can't factor out an x. So then what we're going to do is break it up. Okay. And the first thing, we look at the first term and the last term. This is prime, so the only choices there are 3 and 1, because 3 times 1 is 3. And then from here on out, it's kind of like guessing and checking. So we're going to use either 1 and 10 or 2 and 5, and our goal is to get 13. So I'm going to try 2x and 5x. So the happy face method, I'm going to take these two, multiply them, we get 5x. Then I'm going to take these outside, and I'm going to get 6x. And then I want to see if adding or subtracting I can get 13. Well, 6 plus 5 is 11. 6 minus 5 is 1, so this didn't work. Okay. So before I move on to 1 and 10, I'm going to try switching. So I'm going to put the 5x here, that's still 1. I'm going to put the 2x here, and that's still 3. Happy face, here's the nose, that's going to be 2x. Here's the smile, it's 15x. Okay. Can I use 15 and 2 to get 13? Well, yeah, 15 minus 2 is 13. So if this is positive, I'm going to put my plus sign there. This is negative, so I'm going to put the minus sign there. And then double check. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative 2x plus a positive 15x is positive 13. So that is our answer. Try another one. 12x cubed minus 16x squared minus 28x. Always check. 12, 16, 28. 4 goes into all of those. 3 to one of them, so I can take out 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. X squared minus 4x minus 7. Then we're not done. We're going to go here. Keeping the 4x, split it up. 3 can only be broken up into 3x and 1x. And then we have 7. Okay, and we want 4. So I have a 3 here. I know 3 and 7 will give us 10. So I'm going to put the 7 here and the 1. Nose is 7x. Smile is 3x. Can I get a negative 4x? Yes. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. So this 7 becomes negative. This becomes positive. Double check. Negative 7 times 1, negative 7. Negative 7 plus 3, negative 4. So this would be our answer. We got it on the first try. Factoring is extremely difficult. You just kind of have to practice at it. Then we have difference of 2 squares. So this is if we have a squared minus b squared. We can factor that into a plus b and a minus b. So for example, if I have 4x squared minus 9, you want to see if you can rewrite it as a squared minus b squared. So I think to myself, what squared will give me 4x squared? Well, 2x squared. 2 squared is 4, x squared is x squared, minus 3 squared is 9. So this is my a, and this is my b, and then we just plug it in. A plus b, so 2x plus 3, parentheses, a minus b. The important thing is you need a subtraction, and you need 2 squares. (16x squared plus 81). This we can write as 4x squared. This we can write as 9 squared, but we have a plus sign. Because this is not a minus sign, it does not factor. Y cubed minus 25y. Again, get in the habit checking for greatest common factor. We only have a 25, but we have 3 y's here, we have 1 y here, so we can factor out a y. This becomes y squared minus 25. This is the same thing as y squared minus 5 squared, so we can apply this. So it's going to be x plus 5, y, and y minus 5. Don't forget the y there. Y times y plus 5 times y minus 5. If I have x to the 4th minus 81, I can rewrite this as x squared minus 9 squared, subtraction. So we can rewrite this as x squared plus 9 and x squared minus 9. X squared squared is x to the 4th. R to the 4th minus 125 r squared. I can factor a 5 out, and I can factor an r squared out. So we're left with r squared minus 125 divided by 5 is 25, and r squared. And then we can 5r squared, difference of squares, r plus 5, r minus 5. Difference of squares. Then we have perfect square trinomials. So this says if you have a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, that can be factored into a plus b squared. And if you have a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, you can factor this into a minus b squared. So the important thing to notice is both n terms are squared, and then this is multiplied by 2. So for example, x squared plus 14x plus 49. This is x squared. This is 7 squared. And then if you multiply 7 times x and times 2, that gives you 14. So you know that it does fit into this example. So it just becomes x plus 7 squared. (25) x squared minus 80x plus 64. This is 5x squared. This is 8 squared. If you multiply 8 times 5x and then times that by 2, you do get 80, and it's subtraction, so it fits this one up here, subtraction. So we can simply write this as 5x minus 8 squared. So the important thing for perfect square trinomial, the two ends have to be perfect squares. When you multiply them and double it, if it fits either one of these, you can use the shortcut. If not, you have to factor using the happy face method. And then the last one, sum and difference of two cubes. So this is factoring cubes. If you have a cubed plus b cubed, you can factor that into a plus b, a squared minus ab plus b squared. And then if you have subtraction, a cubed minus b cubed, it's going to be a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. So if you notice, this plus sign talks about the first. This is a plus, so the first binomial is plus. This is a minus, so the first binomial is a minus. A squared, and then it's always the opposite sign. This was plus, so in here is minus. This was minus, so in here is plus, and it's always plus b squared. So if I give you x cubed plus 64, this is the same thing as x cubed plus, and then you have to think about what multiplied 3 times gives you 64. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So this is my a value. This is my b value. It's a plus. So it's going to be x plus 4 times x squared minus 4x plus 16. If I give you 8x cubed minus 125y cubed, 2 cubed is 8, so we got 2x cubed minus 5y cubed will give you 125. It's a subtraction, so it's going to be 2x minus 5y times 2x squared is going to be 4x squared plus 10xy plus 5y squared is going to be, 25y squared. So I'll rewrite that. It's going to be 2x minus 5y times 4x squared plus 10xy plus 25y squared. And that is it for factoring. So make sure you are practicing that as an important concept in math. We'll be using it often.